Did you know that 92% of people abandon their dreams not because they lack talent, but because they never take the first step? Pause for a moment and ask yourself, what's the one thing you've always wanted to do, but some invisible force, holds you back? That hesitation, that quiet whisper of doubt, is the gap between who you are and who you could become. But what if that gap isn't a chasm? What if it's just a single step waiting for you to cross it? Today, we're diving into the subtle art of self-growth, not the loud, flashy transformations you see on social media, but the quiet, deliberate choices that reshape your life. Self-growth isn't about overnight success or chasing perfection. It's about the small, consistent steps that unlock the vast potential within you. It's about waking up each day and choosing to be a little better, a little braver, a little more you. Because when you embrace this journey, you don't just achieve your goals, you become the person capable of achieving them. But let's be real, growth isn't easy. Life throws barriers in our way, and they're not always external. The biggest obstacles often live inside us. Fear of failure creeps in, whispering that you're not good enough, that you'll embarrass yourself, that you'll never measure up. It's the voice that tells you to stay safe, to stick with what's comfortable, to avoid the risk of falling short. Then there's the lack of motivation, that heavy fog that settles over your ambitions. You know what you want, but the spark to act feels buried under routine, distractions, or the weight of a long day. And let's not forget comparison, that thief of joy that makes you feel like everyone else is ahead, leaving you stuck in their shadow. These barriers aren't just hurdles. They're part of the human experience. They're the friction that tests your resolve, the resistance that shapes your strength. But here's the truth. They don't define you. They're not the end of your story. They're the beginning. Let me take you to a small town in Ohio, where a young woman named Maya faced these same barriers. Maya grew up in a family that valued stability over dreams. Her parents worked hard, but their mantra was simple: don't rock the boat. Maya, though, had a fire in her, a dream to become a writer. Not just any writer, but one who could tell stories that moved people, that changed how they saw the world. But every time she sat down to write, fear whispered in her ear. What if her stories weren't good enough? What if she poured her heart out only to be rejected? The fear wasn't just about failure. It was about being seen, truly seen, and found wanting. So, for years, she wrote in secret, hiding her notebooks under her bed, telling herself she wasn't ready. The world, she thought, wasn't ready for her. Then there was Jamal, a software developer in Atlanta who felt the weight of motivation slipping away. He'd always been the smart kid, the one everyone expected to do great things. He landed a solid job at a tech company, but something was missing. The work felt repetitive, uninspiring, and the long hours left him drained. He dreamed of building his own app, something that could help people connect in meaningful ways. But every evening, he'd collapse on the couch, scrolling through social media, watching others live the life he wanted. The gap between his reality and his dream felt insurmountable. Motivation wasn't just low. It was gone, replaced by a nagging sense that maybe he wasn't cut out for more. And then there's Elena, a single mother in Chicago who wrestled with comparison. She wanted to go back to school, to earn a degree in nursing and provide a better life for her son. But every time she opened an application, she'd see posts from friends who'd already graduated, who were thriving in their careers. Their lives looked perfect, polished, like they'd cracked the code to success. Elena felt like she was starting too late, that she'd never catch up. The weight of comparison made her question whether her dream was even worth chasing. Why try, she wondered, when everyone else seemed so far ahead? These stories aren't unique. They're the echoes of millions of lives, each one grappling with the same invisible chains: fear, apathy, self-doubt. But what separates those who stay stuck from those who break free? It's not talent, luck, or circumstance. It's the courage. to face those barriers and take action anyway. It's the realization that growth doesn't demand perfection. It demands persistence. Let's go back to Maya. One winter evening, she stumbled across an old journal from her teenage years. Flipping through its pages, she found stories she'd written, raw, unpolished, but alive with passion. She read about a character who faced rejection but kept going, who turned pain into purpose. It hit her like a lightning bolt. She was hiding from her own story. The fear of failure wasn't protecting her, it was robbing her. So she made a decision. She signed up for a local writing workshop, not because she felt ready, but because she was tired of waiting to feel ready. The first session was terrifying. Sharing her work felt like standing naked in front of strangers. But something shifted. The feedback wasn't cruel, it was constructive. Her classmates saw potential in her words, and slowly, she began to see it too. She started submitting her stories to small publications. Rejections came, but so did acceptances. Each one built her confidence, brick by brick, until she wasn't just writing, she was becoming a writer. Jamal's turning point came differently. One night, after another mindless scroll through his phone, he caught a glimpse of a quote on his feed. "You don't find time for your dreams, you make it." It stung because it was true. He wasn't unmotivated, he was unfocused. So he started small. He set aside 30 minutes each night to work on his app, no matter how tired he was. At first, it felt like a chore, but those minutes became sacred. He learned to code features he'd never tried before, watching tutorials, making mistakes, and fixing them. Progress was slow, but it was real. 6 months later, he had a working prototype. It wasn't perfect, but it was his. For the first time in years, he felt alive, like he was building something that mattered. Motivation didn't come first. It followed his action. Elena's breakthrough was quieter, but no less powerful. One afternoon, while helping her son with homework, she saw him struggle with a math problem. He wanted to give up, but she encouraged him to keep trying, to break it down into smaller steps. Watching his face light up when he solved it, she realized she wasn't practicing what she preached. Comparison was holding her hostage, but it didn't have to. She enrolled in community college, starting with one class. The first semester was brutal. Late nights, early mornings, balancing work and parenting. But every passing grade was a victory, a reminder that she wasn't racing against anyone else. She was running her own race. 2 years later, she was accepted into a nursing program, not because she was better than others, but because she refused to let comparison define her worth. These stories converge at a single truth. The moment you choose to act, despite fear, despite doubt, despite the odds, is the moment you begin to grow. For Maya, it was the courage to share her voice. For Jamal, it was the discipline to carve out time. For Elena, it was the clarity to run her own race. But there's one story that stands out, one that crystallizes the power of self-growth in a way that still echoes today. Meet Marcus, a young man from a small village in Kenya. Marcus grew up in a community where opportunities were scarce. His family farmed to survive, and education was a luxury most couldn't afford. But Marcus had a dream: to become a teacher, to give kids like him a chance to learn and dream bigger. The barriers were immense. No money for school, no resources, no connections. Fear told him to stay put, to accept the life he was born into. Motivation waned under the weight of daily survival. Comparison stung when he heard about city kids with access to books and internet. But Marcus had something stronger, a spark of belief that his life could mean more. At 16, he made a choice that changed everything. He started walking 10 miles each day to a neighboring town with a library. He'd borrow books, study under a kerosene lamp, and teach himself math, science, and literature. The journey was grueling, blistering heat, aching feet, and the constant temptation to give up. But every step was a rebellion against his circumstances. One day, a teacher at the A library noticed Marcus's dedication and offered to mentor him. That connection led to a scholarship for a teaching program. Marcus didn't just overcome his barriers, he transformed them into fuel. Today, he's a teacher in his village, inspiring a new generation to dream beyond their horizons. His story isn't just about success. It's about the moment he decided to walk those 10 miles, to choose growth over surrender. That moment is the heart of self-growth. It's not about the finish line, it's about the decision to start. Marcus didn't wait for fear to vanish. He moved through it. Maya didn't wait for perfection. She shared her messy drafts. Jamal didn't wait for motivation. He created it through action. Elena didn't wait to feel equal. She ran her own race. And you don't have to wait either. The barriers you face, fear, doubt, comparison, they're real, but they're not your destiny. They're the raw material of your growth, the resistance that forges your strength. Think about your own life. What's the one thing you've been putting off? The dream you've buried under excuses? The goal you've shelved because it feels too big? You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be fearless or flawless. You just need to start. Take one step. Write the first sentence, sign up for the course, make the call, take the walk. Growth isn't a sprint. It's a series of small, deliberate choices that compound over time. Every step you take builds momentum, like a snowball, rolling down a hill, gathering size and speed until it's unstoppable. The beauty of self-growth is that it's not reserved for the gifted or the lucky. It's available to everyone. It's in the quiet moments when you choose to keep going, even when no one's watching. It's in the courage to fail and try again. It's in the discipline to show up for yourself, day after day. The philosopher Seneca once said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." That's the essence of growth. Not arriving at a destination, but embracing the journey of becoming. So, what's your next step? Maybe it's picking up a book that scares you because it challenges your thinking. Maybe it's saying no to distractions and yes to your priorities. Maybe it's forgiving yourself for past mistakes and giving yourself permission to dream again. Whatever it is, know this. The moment you act, you're not just chasing a goal, you're sculpting the person you're meant to be. And that person? They're capable of more than you can imagine. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the one step you're ready to take on your self-growth journey? Share it in the comments below. Your story might just inspire someone else to take their first step. And if this resonated with you, check out our video on the power of small habits for more ways to transform your life, one choice at a time. Keep growing, keep moving, and never stop becoming the best version of you